Welcome to the West Point Cybersecurity Analytics team. Today is October 10th, 2019. The cadets on this project are Cadets Luke Barstow, Deal Cho, Eric Lowe, and Caleb Johnson. The advisor for this group is Lieutenant Colonel Blaine, and the instructor is Lieutenant Colonel Finocario. The problem statement. The USMA network holds sensitive information that must be secured and be routinely monitored. Therefore, the West Point Cybersecurity Analytics team is tasked with assessing the security posture of the USMA network and network users and compiling results in a dashboard. The product vision. No later than projects day, develop, implement, and test the system and processes to present current cybersecurity network risk in order of precedence in real time and offer recommendations to key leaders on multiple courses of action to mitigate or eliminate the risks. Our team has 4 members: Cadet Caleb Johnson, Luke Barstow, Deal Cho, and Eric Lowe. Cadet Johnson and Barstow are both IT majors, and Cadet Cho and Lowe are computer science majors. The Sprint Zero goal. For Sprint Zero, our team will learn and demonstrate an understanding of PowerShell, Microsoft Azure Sentinel, Microsoft Cloud App Security, Office 365 Workflow, Trello, and GitHub. The capacity for this sprint is a total of 42 hours. Our total actual logged hours is 37.75.
Here's our Sprint Zero backlog. For Sprint Zero, Deal and Luke focused on learning PowerShell, Eric focused on researching Microsoft Sentinel, and Caleb was tasked with researching O365 workflow and the level of security provided by O365. All members worked for the planning and creation of the sprint goal, and Eric and Luke specifically worked on organizing Trello. Everyone else participated in creating the video, and Eric worked on setting up the GitHub. This sprint was mostly focused on knowledge acquisition, and we estimated it would take us 44.25 hours, when in reality it only took us 37.75.
All right, I'm going to be talking to you guys about Windows PowerShell. Windows PowerShell is a Windows command line shell designed specifically for system administrators. Windows PowerShell includes an interactive prompt and a scripting environment that can be used independently or in combination. The definition of done for the learning PowerShell portion of this project was going to be to complete the training by both of the members that were assigned to learn PowerShell and do some basic script demonstration showing our capability to use PowerShell and make a script that does something valuable to our project. So this is my screenshot of the training. As you can see, I watched over 3.5 hours of videos teaching me about PowerShell and all of its capabilities. Okay, so why did we learn PowerShell? So PowerShell is right for this project because PowerShell is a valuable tool for automating Windows tasks. The reason it's valuable for that is because you can write scripts that can run themselves and do valuable tasks without you having to interact with the machine. You just have to write a script and the machine does it for you. This can be valuable when you're interacting with system programs as for example, like security programs, and all you have to do is query the system and return a valuable list of information. When you use PowerShell to manage O365, it makes things a lot easier because PowerShell was designed by Windows and so was O365, so PowerShell is the main resource that Windows wants you to use to interact with O365 programs. So that's why we need it in order to interact with O365 Security Portal and other systems that run on O365 in order to manage West Point's security system. This project depends on us being able to interact with O365 and manage West Point security portals. PowerShell is the tool designed by Windows, and therefore that's why we had to learn it. The PowerShell demo, demonstrating the basic capability to write a script in PowerShell. So part of the Pluralsight tutorial was to write a demo that returned, write a script that returned a value in the form of a comma-separated value list with some results from the system. So this was that demo. The demo was written in PowerShell. It was a script that was executed, and it returned a list of all the programs that were currently stopped on the machine and the names of those programs. This specific demo is not valuable to us as a security team, but the concept behind it is, because Being able to write a script like this that returns values can be automated. We can set this to run and return these results at any time, at any given interval. And if we set it to return the right types of data from the system, then it could give us some results about the security system settings, any threats that we might be receiving, and it can give us some valuable information on the security posture of West Point's O365 environment. Thank you.
Cadet Barstow and I decided to take two different courses on Pluralsight. The course that I took is called PowerShell Toolmaking Fundamentals. This course is a total of 3 hours and 55 minutes. However, I was only able to complete 3 hours and 16 minutes due to a time constraint on the free trial we both signed up for. In that time period, however, I was able to learn 3 different capabilities of PowerShell: Active Directory, log tracking, and SQL. Active Directory allows developers such as ourselves to create users and computer accounts and input them into a system. We are also able to add specific users to different groups and reset any necessary information. I was ultimately unable to implement this tool due to insufficient admin privileges on my machine. Active Directory needs remote server administration tool which is created by Windows, however my machine was unable to do so. Understanding why Active Directory is important will allow us as developers to better understand the West Point network and how the West Point network, was able to create users and different computer accounts. The following screenshot was taken from the Pluralsight course that I took. Here we are developing a new object of a user named Rob Smith. This just shows the scope of Active Directory in which we are able to create user and computer accounts. The second tool that I learned was called log tracking. This is used in the event an application crashes and allows developers to track down root causes of any crash. We are able to isolate specific time periods in which we are able to parse through traffic on a specific user, and this is applicable because using this information we can alarm cybersecurity teams of malicious and malevolent searches or traffic in our network. We're also able to build datasets linking users with specific traffic. Now I'll demonstrate a live demonstration of how log tracking works. The above code that I got was from the Pluralsight website, and from here I'll be able to run a log tracking between the times of 4 a.m. and 4:30 on October 10th, 2019. It takes a second to run, but now we see every single internal and external traffic occurring on this machine between the hours of 04 and 04:30. The last capability of PowerShell that I learned was you're able to connect SQL databases to PowerShell. This is interesting because it allows us to build datasets using tools in PowerShell such as log tracking, compile them in a SQL database, and we can further analyze that data using R.
Microsoft 365 is a subscription service aimed at providing improved integration and security between Microsoft products. It comes bundled as the Office 365, Windows 10 Pro, and Enterprise Mobility plus Security. With Microsoft 365, customers get cloud services that can scale, as well as integrated device management security. When migrating a system to Office 365, make sure the organization does not forget these important security concerns. Outdated software such as Office 2007 have lower security thresholds and leave data vulnerable during an Office 365 migration. Before you migrate, make sure to install available patches and updates on your existing software. Spoofing, phishing, and other email-based cyber threats are vulnerabilities for Office 365 migrations when your organization uses a third-party email service provider. Ensure that your organization's ESP has the provide protocols in place. Just as phishing emails are so effective because they look like the real thing, cloud vendors that appear legitimate must be secured before implementation. Microsoft uses replication, which can guarantee that all of your organization's files will be accessible if files are compromised through ransomware or accidental deletion. Single sign-on provides a vulnerability because a company discovered by using cross-domain authentication to bypass federal domains. Office 365 is too large a platform to be completely agile in the security updates and leaves open the possibility of high targeted cyber attacks on your system. Microsoft has invested in significant resources to building a security stack. At the same time, Microsoft has partnered with third-party security vendors to provide additional layers of security for organizations with more complex requirements. Microsoft breaks down the service-level security built in Office 365 into physical, logical, and data layers. Microsoft starts by providing security for the physical access of data. Microsoft stores its customer data in data centers distributed geographically, restricts access to the data center's job function, and uses physical security measures such as badges, smart cards, biometric scanners, etc. Logical layers applies to host, application, and administration. Microsoft wants to reduce as much human intervention so it automates many operations performed. Access to the Office 365 is strictly controlled with the least privileges. Microsoft Lockbox process greatly limits human access to data and employs a security development lifecycle process. The logical layer employs anti-malware software to protect data from malicious applications by both detecting and preventing. And Microsoft quarantines affected systems. Microsoft has multiple customers that use some of the same hardware, so it uses Active Directory to isolate their data. Microsoft has built encryption features for Office 365 that follow industry cryptographic standards such as SSL, TLS, and AES, etc. Use secure sessions to secure the data in transit, and BitLocker to encrypt data at rest in case there is lost, stolen, or inappropriately decommissioned hardware in one of the company's data centers. Microsoft adheres to an assuming breach, and those are the steps that follow. So many of the extended capabilities Microsoft has deals with threat protection for Exchange Online. Microsoft utilizes the Operational Security Assurance (OSA) framework to continuously monitor, identify, and operational risk and provide guidelines. And then Microsoft also offers solutions that can be implemented by the customer. Federated identity, single sign-on, and multi-factor authentication. Microsoft also has data loss prevention, and Microsoft Office 365 complies with several industry and government standards and regulation.
For the next portion of the sprint review, we will go over Microsoft Azure Sentinel. Microsoft Azure Sentinel is a cloud-based automated network security tool that collects data of the network traffic, and then it can identify anomalies and threats, and it keeps track of those using machine learning. Then it'll generate reports to open up investigations into those as well. It is fully customizable to meet the needs of the user. It is cloud-based, meaning it can connect users both on the premises and in other clouds, and it connects all users, devices, and applications across the entirety of a network. You have the ability to connect to multiple clouds, and you can also store data on the cloud, giving you more room to actually store the data collected. The detection works in that it comes with an out-of-the-box threat detection, as well as fully customizable rules and queries to search for specific threats and anomalies that could be on your network. Here you see a dashboard that goes over the insecure protocols that are located on your network, and it can display those, and the dashboards are also fully customizable to show different alerts, such as like how many alerts are generated on a given day and other things like that. Azure Sentinel also keeps tracks of users across the entirety of the network, so each user is given a name and then given an investigation priority based on the number of alerts that they have caused or the number of alerts that they've been linked to in some way, shape, or form. It can also keep track of their email, department, and title, so it's easier to contact those people or someone in their department when an alert is triggered. Here we see the case handling of an alert. So when an alert is generated, it can be sent to someone on an admin staff from your cybersecurity team, and then they are tasked to assign that alert a severity from low, medium to high, and then they can also determine how the case is handled, as in whether it still needs to be opened, whether it's a case in progress, or whether it's been closed, or however they want to go about that. It also creates a link of nodes, so it shows the user who triggered the alert or application or whatever ended up triggering the alert, as well as the other nodes connected to it, such as if the same alert has been triggered on multiple devices or with other users, or if it's the same alert being triggered on the same device multiple times. That way you can link it back to exactly what is the cause of that alert. So here we see alert handling based on a playbook. Playbooks are used to determine exactly how Sentinel will handle different alerts. So in this specific one, you see that an alert is triggered that it is unknown, doesn't already have a playbook for or anything like that. And then so it creates a record of this alert that it puts in the database for future use with its machine learning feature. And then it posts a message in this cybersecurity team channel on Microsoft Teams. That way they can see that and know that there's a new alert. And then it sends an approval email to one of the admins from the cybersecurity team. And what they can do with that, that admin will look at the alert and determine what action to take against it. You can assign specific actions to take for specific alerts. In this case, it just does a general, you can block the user on the entire Azure platform, or you can also block the IP address that's causing the alert, or you can just close it and not do anything with it.
The following is our product roadmap. As you can see, we categorize our product roadmap with our sprint goal, major feature additions, architecture upgrades, and communication events. For our Sprint 0 goal, we can see it as such placed in our roadmap. The Sprint 1 anticipated goal is the following. For Sprint 1, our team will demonstrate an understanding of the USWIN network and initiate development of the dashboard. Some recommended product backlog items are the following. Research the USWIN network in order to gain more information on how users are created, how traffic flows, and the scope of the network. Initiate a user interface system, whether it be a design or an actual basic implementation. Receive more admin privileges in order to use more PowerShell tools. This is referring to using tools such as Active Directory. Attempt to conduct a few tests specific to the USWIN network, such as tracking logs of specific users. And finally, initiate consideration of security vulnerabilities in the USWIN network.
This concludes our Sprint 0 presentation. At this time, we will take any questions.